And welcome back once again to Joe the Shirts Off the Cuff and Poetry Slam, apparently. That was Bass Quartet and their song Gere Propre. Don't know what any of that means, but that's what we got going. So coming up to you live with my soft, silky tones. Okay, I'm still a little raspy. I get it. Well, thank you for listening in. It is Joe the Shirts Off the Cuff. Today's show, you don't get what you pay for. Originally, I was planning on doing a midnight time for a homicide show, but then I realized I just don't have the voice for that type of show. My voice doesn't have the proper authority and energy for that kind of show. So I thought I'd mellow it out just a little bit. What is going on? Here, let's see. Actually, I wanted to start off with a story, the kind of story that pisses off everybody. Now, I read this, it pissed me off, and I'm sure that a lot of you will hear this, and it'll piss you off as well. Okay. Let's see. One. James Bozeman Jr., 67 years old, won a Florida lottery and got $3 million. I know you're thinking, well, what's so bad about that, Joe? That's great. Good for him. Well, it would be great for him if it wasn't for the fact that less than a year before that, he won $10 million in the Florida jackpot lottery. See, like I said, that's the story that pisses me off. Vast majority of all of us out here will play the lottery day in, day out, week after week, year after year, just like I have, just like you have, and never win jack and shit. I think the most my girlfriend and I have ever won at anything lottery-wise was on a scratcher, and we got $50. We were hysterically happy. Not that $50 paid for all the tickets we bought that year, but it was just fun, you know. But for somebody to win twice, I mean, multi-million dollars. This is, by the way, Florida's first two-hitting multi-million-dollar winner ever. He bought it at a 7-Eleven, the same 7-Eleven, won twice. And by the way, I don't know if you guys knew this, but stores like 7-Eleven that sell tickets, if they sell a winning ticket, they get money. I did not know this. You knew this, babe? I did not. Yeah, okay. For the $3 million win, the store's owner, Hamani, won $15,000. And for the $10 million win, he got $40,000 last year. I'm like, wow, I did not know this. I honestly did not. But you got to admit, deep down inside, you know that pisses you off just a little bit. Talking about spending today, you don't get what you pay for. This is a story that caught my eye. May not have caught your eye, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Let's see. Now, near the height of the Afghanistan war, the Pentagon spent $297 million on a 7-story blimp-like aircraft. It's as long as a football field that could hover over a war zone for weeks at a time, beaming back crucial intelligence to ground troops, sea troops, other airplanes. You know, it was like basically, it was an information hub designed to like just stay up there at 20 to 30,000 feet for up to 3 to 4 weeks at a time. Okay? That didn't work out. According to what happened, it was supposed to be built in about 12 months. It got built in like 18. It was supposed to have X amount of weight on it. It turned out to be 12,000 pounds overweight. It was supposed to be unmanned, and yet in its maiden and only voyage, it had a pilot. And instead of being capable of being up there for 3 to 4 weeks, it was only capable of about 4 to 5 days. Pentagon decided that, you know what, this didn't work out quite the way we would have liked. It's not what we need, and now that we're not involved in as many wars as we were way back when in Afghanistan, Iraq, and all that good stuff, I think officially we are not at war with anybody.
Officially not.
As far as I know, we're not in any major military operations anywhere. I mean, we have military operations, but not to the point where apparently we need an aircraft like this. So they decide to scrap the whole deal. Figure, you know what? It's not worth it. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. And then they decide to sell it back to the British company that built it for us. Now, we spent $297 million on this. That's your money. That's my money. That's our money that we spent on this blimp. And we decided we don't need it. We don't want it. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. It's a lemon, basically. We're going to sell it back for $301,000. I was telling my girlfriend earlier today.
Pennies on the dollar.
Pennies on the dollar. Yeah, it's like I was telling you earlier today, babe. It's like, I understand you drive a car off the lot, it immediately depreciates in value. Okay, I drive a. Oh wait. You drive a Highlander, right? Toyota Highlander. What did you pay for that?
$28,000 or $29,000.
Okay, so let's say $29,000. That would be like you paying $29,000 for your car, taking it out for then taking it out for one drive, deciding you don't like it, bringing it back, and then telling you that they're going to give you $290 for it. Now, my question here is, how come we contract this British company to build us something that does certain things? They build it. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. We paid them. Shouldn't we get our money back?
It's not Field of Dreams, is it?
I mean, it seems to me as if you pay somebody to do something for you, to build something to certain specifications, and then it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, you get your money back. I mean, that sounds like what you're supposed to do, right? I mean, $297 million for a ship that's supposed to be able to be aloft for 3 to 4 weeks. It ended up being capable of doing 4 to 5 days. Supposed to be unmanned. It needed a pilot. I'm sorry. It didn't do any, and then 12,000 pounds overweight. I mean, it didn't do any of the things that it was supposed to do. Yet we paid them, and then accepted 301. We accepted 1% back on our investment, and just gave it back to them. And yet here in California, they're cutting welfare and aid to the elderly. Just letting you know. That was also in today's paper. That we're cutting back on aid to the poor, the disenfranchised, the mentally ill, and it's good. It's a good idea if you're actually from this country, because if you're not, you're kind of fucked. So yeah. Now, in that same vein, let's talk about military spending just a little bit more. Now, you guys, you all went and saw the Iron Man movies, right? I saw it. My girlfriend saw them with me. We loved all three of them. You know, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark, Iron Man, we loved it. We loved the second movie with Mickey Rourke as Whiplash. And we saw the third movie with was it Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin. We love these movies. They were fun. They were big and splashy and loud. It's the only kind of movie we go see at the movies. We're not going to go see, Love Actually at the movie theaters. I know that's a very dated reference right there, but like I said, we don't see those kind of movies at the movie theater. We're going to the movie theater. We want a big splashy show. That's what we want. Next week we're gonna go watch Thor. All right, the new Thor movie. You know what? No great amount of acting in that movie. Okay, with Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman and the chick from Two Broke Girls with the really huge tits and the equally huge lips. I mean, talk about cock-sucking lips. Anyway, I'm getting a little off track here. I'm talking about Iron Man here. it's science fiction, and yet it's not, because the Pentagon, the U.S. military, wants to build Iron Man suits, which that they're calling Iron Man suits. Okay, this is their plan here. Okay, here it goes. U.S. Special Operations Command has been asked to produce a radically new protective suit for elite soldiers to wear into battle, one with bionic limbs, head-to-toe armor, a built-in power supply, and live data feeds projected on a see-through display inside the helmet. And they call it the Iron Man suit. Yeah, it's right here. It's black and white. LA Times. They call it the Iron Man suit. All right. Quote, "We're taking the Iron Man concept and bringing it closer to reality," said Dowling, referring to the Marvel character of Tony Stark. Let's see. Military officials say they're trying to produce a working prototype within the next 12 months. Okay? Now, some of you saw Iron Man 2. Remember when Tony Stark was in court with Gary Shandling? And he started futzing around with his phone and brought up video of the military experimenting with Iron Man suits. And they were exploding and attacking the wrong people. And you're going to be seeing this pretty soon. Now, it's very similar in concept to a suit that was in the first G.I. Joe movie. They were called accelerators. But they are actually working on doing this. And there are several companies, several contractors that are dying to get this gig. The metal suit that the Pentagon wants would be all but impervious to bullets and shrapnel, be able to continuously download and display live video feeds from overhead drones. Relying on tiny motors, the exoskeleton would enable a soldier to run and jump without strain while carrying 100 pounds or more. It would, at least in theory, be able to stanch minor wounds with inflatable tourniquets in the unlikely event that the armor is breached. It would also carry a built-in oxygen supply in case of poison gas, a cooling system to keep the soldiers comfortable, and sensors to transmit the wearer's vital signs to headquarters. Yeah, sure it will. Okay, look, I'm not saying that such a suit is impossible. You look at modern technology that we have today, anything is possible, except apparently for a blimp that can stay up in the air for 3 to 4 weeks at a time. I'm just saying, but anything is possible, but I don't know if it's going to be possible in the next 12 months. According to, it's hysterical, according to some of the guys that are working on the suit, some of the contractors, the quote, "You won't get all of it, but it's not going to be, but it's not going to fly. But I think it's doable," end quote. That's what they have to say about it. I'm like, that's as confident as you can be? Oh, my God. Now, a lot of people are already criticizing the idea of the Iron Man suit because in recent wars, Afghanistan, Iraq, U.S. military went in there with top-of-the-line military hardware, the highest-end technology you can buy. And they went into Afghanistan and Iraq figuring we're going to kick the living shit out of everybody. This war will be over in about a week. And instead, these wars were fought to virtual standstills, to a draw, basically. We really couldn't, overcome their military presence because they weren't fighting the way we were fighting. We were fighting high-tech and, modernized way of warfare, where they were fighting like they were still in the 1800s, hiding bombs, hiding behind a rock, kid bombs. I mean, these guys were not fighting the way a war is supposed to be fought. So there's already a lot of people criticizing the idea that, just because you have better technology doesn't mean that you get to win. Ask anybody, from Korea, Vietnam, hell, Iraq. Go ahead, ask them. Just because you have the better hardware doesn't mean you get to win. Now, keeping up with the whole concept of the Iron Man movies, the Avengers, and the movies, have you guys been watching Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? The actor that plays Agent Coulson. Let me see. Let's see if I got this here. I think I do. Shoot, where is he? Shit. Oh yeah, Clark Gregg is the actor from Marvel's Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. He plays Agent Coulson. They actually brought him in. They were so eager to show its product that they sent in the military a video featuring Clark Gregg, the actor who plays Agent Phil Coulson in those movies, trying out its intimidating-looking exoskeleton at the company's Utah test lab. That's right. They got a movie actor from the Iron Man movies to be in their video to do their pitch to the Pentagon. I need a break. I'm Joe the Shirt. I am off the cuff. And now, a little music for you guys. Be right back.
दे दे इन आंखों का जाम कामिनी चैन गया खोया आराम कामिनी अरे कर दे प्रेमी पे एहसान कामिनी
Hello.
नाम
I am Joe the Turban, and I am off the camel. And I was so wrong. You know, that joke was wrong when I did it a couple of months ago. It's wrong now to this day. Please, nobody bomb me. Especially not the performer from this particular song, Arabian Passion. That's what it's called, Dave. It's called Arabian Passion. Let's see if I get this right. It is by Babukashan. Now, quick shout out to Babukashan here. I actually like the music. I have played several of his songs before, and I actually like the music. It's a lot of fun, in my opinion. But welcome back. You don't get what you pay for. But before we go on with that, let's go on to a little lighter fare. Let's do celebrity birthdays. Those are fun. Those are always fun. Let's see. We're going to do some celebrity birthdays from November 1st. Dia de los Muertos. Anthony Kiedis is 55 years old, singer from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Jenny McCarthy is 41. Baseball legend Fernando Valenzuela turns 53. Eric Spoelstra is 43, head coach for the Miami Heat, who won 2 championships with them. Lyle Lovett is 56. Larry Flint is 71. Hey, Larry Flint has gotten a lot of guys' right arms through a lot of times. And Toni Collette, actress, is 41 years old. 41. I'm sorry, I've seen Toni Collette, and she doesn't exactly look 41 to me. I mean, 51? I could believe that. Baby, would you believe Toni Collette's 41?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. No. And if you were born today, November 2nd, very few celebrity birthdays that I could find for today, but it's quite the interesting mix, actually. If your birthday is today, November 2nd, you share birthdays with K.D. Lang, 51 years old. David Schwimmer is 47 years old. And Nelly is 39. That's it. That's all I got. What's that, baby?
Slim.
Very slim pickings. You are absolutely correct. I was like, I'm looking at it. I'm like, because the site I go to usually will post 50 celebrity birthdays, and those are the only 3 that I thought was worth mentioning. But then again, this site, which is usually a really good site, sometimes they'll like put in people that I'm just like, really? Like one time they posted a person as a celebrity birthday as a person that was a stand-in for a famous person in the movies. I was like, that's not good. Well, shit, might as well put me up there while you're at it. Let's see, what do I feel like doing today? Well, recently it was, of course, Halloween, best holiday on the planet. The lady and I, we stayed in this year. I wasn't exactly feeling all that well. She wasn't either. So we stayed in. We watched scary movies, ate popcorn. We decorated the house. We had a good time in general, Now, one of the things that always comes up around Halloween is child molesters. Sex offenders always comes up because here in LA County and many parts of California, and actually all over the United States, there are many, many laws in reference to child molesters. Sex offenders in general, actually, the term, it's sex offenders, not child molesters, but sex offenders. There are certain laws that apply strictly to them. Now, among them, as you all know, is that they have to register with local law enforcement as sex offenders. It doesn't matter what their offense was. They could be child molesters. They could be rapists. They could have been that when they were 18, they had sex with their 17-year-old girlfriend who turned 18 the next day. That's officially a child molester. Okay. It's rape. Any case, for Halloween, because Halloween is such a child's holiday for the most part here in the United States, except for here in West Hollywood, where it's like the gayest thing in the human world. Halloween, I say, is a child's holiday, and so beyond making sure that sex offenders register as sex offenders, they are ordered by law to not decorate for Halloween in any way. No jack-o'-lanterns, no skeletons, no spider webs, and if any child approaches their door in any way to trick or treat, they are not to open the door and give them candy. Okay, I understand. It sounds pretty reasonable up to a point, but then they go beyond that and say that in some counties they have to put up a sign on their door that says, "No trick-or-treaters, sex offender on premises." Is that reasonable? Is that really a reasonable thing? Because there are now lawsuits out there up against this law because it unfairly targets sex offenders. Now remember, I'm not going around defending real hardcore sex offenders, rapers, child molesters, the Catholic Church. I'm not talking about them, but there are some people out there that have mitigating circumstances that because of those circumstances, they officially are sex offenders. But they weren't dangerous, evil people. Like I said, the 18-year-old who had sex with his 17-year-old girlfriend, and maybe you know what? The two of them were 17 and they'd been fucking for the last year. But one day he turns 18, she's still 17. All of a sudden he's a sex offender. Okay? Well, let's put that aside. Even it is believed that it unfairly targets these people because it's bad enough that they have to go register. But when you are a registered sex offender, you don't have to go to all your neighbors and tell them, "Hey, by the way, I'm a registered sex offender." You don't have to do that. That's not a requirement. But when you have to post a sign on Halloween that says, "No trick-or-treaters, sex offender," that's pretty much putting a target on your back. And the question is, do we have to have any sympathy for these folks? It's like, well, people believe, you do the crime, you do the time. But I think, like I said, there are mitigating circumstances. I think that there are exceptions to the rule. In general, yes, you had sex with a 12-year-old, you should probably go to prison if you happen to have been 35. But if you happen to have been 13 or 12 yourself, Do you go to jail? I mean, by the way, two 12-year-olds have sex with each other? That's sex with a minor. That's a crime on actually both of them right there. Just so we're all clear out there, neither of them is actually innocent of anything. Okay. Now, another reason I bring this up is here in California, there's a serial rapist. Let's see. A serial rapist linked to attacks on dozens of women could be released to Antelope Valley when he is freed soon from a state mental hospital, authorities said. A single-family home in the unincorporated area of Lake Los Angeles has been found for Christopher Hubbard. Now, Christopher Hubbard spent nearly 2 decades in a state mental hospital, admitted that he sexually assaulted more than 36 women across California between 1971 and 1982. So he definitely has a problem. Now, after spending quite a bit of time in prison, he was let go, where it was believed that, he's okay now, no longer a threat to society. According to this, County Superior Court Judge Gilbert Brown previously rejected arguments that Hubbard should be released in the Bay Area where he most recently had committed his crimes, and said he should return to Los Angeles County, where he grew up and lived briefly the last time he was released from prison in 1993. I should add also here that he returned to prison in 1994 for once again raping people. And according to the judge, he's a viable citizen now. He's able to go back into society. According to Herbert's attorney, Santa Clara County Deputy Public Defender Jeff Dunn said earlier this year his client had embraced intensive treatment for years while locked up in a state mental hospital and is not a public safety risk. Isn't that what they said before when they let him go in 1993? Jace Hubbard is among more than 500 offenders in California who have been confined under a law that allows authorities to commit sexually violent predators to state hospitals if deemed to have mental disorders that make them likely to reoffend, even if they have already served their prison sentences. Now, I'm not making a case for violent sex offenders like Mr. Hubbard here. But what I'm saying is, short of keeping them incarcerated or in a mental hospital their entire lives, what are we supposed to do with these guys? Well, my girlfriend makes a little slashing motion across her neck. Kill them. Yeah, I'm good with that too. This guy admitted to raping several dozen women. He's a scumbag. He should have gotten the death penalty. The fact that he's allegedly crazy, has a mental disorder, I don't give a shit. But, we're not killing them, and we're not keeping them incarcerated for the rest of their lives. We're not keeping them in the hospitals the rest of their lives. They come out of prison. People are all pissed off because they don't want these guys in their neighborhood. They don't want a sex offender in their neighborhood. They don't want a rapist, a child molester, whatever you want to call them, a Catholic priest. But here's the truth of the matter. Go online after the show, please. Not now. After the show, go online and look up local sex offenders in your neighborhood. I believe you will be quite surprised. I did it. I went online and I looked, and they asked me to. I was looking up sex offenders and local sex offenders, and all they asked for was my zip code. 90069. Okay. Within the 90069 zip code, it gave me 2,988 registered sex offenders in my zip code. Okay, West Hollywood, man. 4 of them less than a half a mile from where I live. Okay, 2 of them. By the distance they gave me, 0.2 of a mile, that puts them on the same street as me, on the same block as me. We're talking about 4 sex offenders that, I probably walk around and see all the time. Registered sex offenders. And about, like I said, about 3,000 in the 90069 zip code. So, and this is considered a decently nice neighborhood, considered a pretty safe neighborhood. But we have about almost 3,000 registered sex offenders. Let's not even talk about the ones that aren't registered, that have committed crimes that haven't been caught yet. So before you start throwing too many stones at those glass houses, really, go online. You will be absolutely surprised. And for a small fee, you can actually find out their names. Or you can go to your local PD, your police department, and ask them for a list of registered sex offenders in your neighborhood. They'll give it to you. It's a public record. They'll let you know about it, all right? And you will be absolutely shocked at how many people are registered sex offenders in your own neighborhood. And on that up note, we're going to take a break. Here's the song Dive by Baby Bird. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff, and I'll be right back.
The days are passing by, just waiting for the time to fly. Now a moment full of life is awaiting you tonight. Watch me when I dive into the sea of life. I'll dive tonight into the light. I'll dive time to let things go and make room for love inside your heart. Now's the time for you to lose control. It's freedom, it's a state of mind. Watch me.
Hey, Joe the Shirt is off the cuff. Welcome back, everybody. All right. Quick one for you. You guys may be aware of what happened yesterday here in Los Angeles. Yet another nutcase decides to go off shooting a place up. This time, of course, it was over at LAX, the sixth busiest airport in the world. As is described here, a composed, solitary gunman shot his way into Los Angeles International Airport on Friday morning, killing a transit security screener and injuring at least one more before being wounded by police and taken into custody. The incident was over in less than 10 minutes but caused chaos at the world's sixth busiest airport and disrupted thousands of flights across the nation. The suspected gunman was identified as Paul Anthony Ciancia, 23, a New Jersey native who lives in Los Angeles. Which is pretty much all the attention I'm really going to give that story, other than the fact that, I have a friend of mine that works in the airline industry. He's a flight attendant, my buddy Monty. Thankfully he wasn't working yesterday. He was at home, taking it easy, relaxing, maxing, and living in his orange apartment, which actually is not as orange as it used to be. He loves orange, but he wasn't there yesterday, and I'm thankful for that. Not that I believe anything would have happened, because apparently Mr. Paul Ciancia here was targeting TSA agents, who, by the way, are not armed. But way to go, Paul. Way to be an asshole. The funniest thing I found about this story was a former classmate of his said that he was bullied in high school. I'm like, he's 23. By the time I was 23, I kind of let go of most of that bullshit. I mean, come on, man. The whole bullying concept is getting a little out of hand for me. You know what? Look, I get it. You know, your kid gets bullied. Of course, you're pissed off about it. Your kid is a bully. You should be ashamed of yourself. But, you know, bullying happens. And for whatever reason, it's this bizarre trend these days that, you know, people that get bullied are either killing themselves or killing everybody else around them. I mean, you've heard all the stories recently. You know, kid goes into school, shoots his classmates, shoots a teacher, shoots a couple of teachers. That asshole from Sandy Hook, you know, killed 26 people, including 20 children. You know, we've heard all the stories already. You know, but I keep asking about responsibility in these stories because I keep asking, you know, who is at fault here? Is it the bully that's solely at fault? I'd like to think that if I had a child, you know, hopefully he'd have the mental capacity to understand that bullying happens. And there's no need to kill yourself over it. I mean, I was bullied. My girlfriend was bullied. My buddy Craig, who is probably one of the toughest motherfuckers I know, even he was bullied growing up. You know, when he was growing up, bigger kids, bigger bullies bullied him. Later on, he went on to bully other children, but that's besides the point. But even he experienced it. But the three of us, not one of us killed ourselves. I have a friend of mine. He's gay. You know what? He was bullied. Guess what? He's doing just fine. And then they go around blaming social media. They blame Facebook and Twitter and Google, and they're blaming YouTube, and they're blaming all these media outlets for letting bullying become. You know, you don't even need to physically bully anybody anymore. You can just, you know, type some shit online about them. You know, people writing about a girl that she's a slut, or writing about a little boy that he's a fag, or you know, writing about maybe the African American kid saying "die nigger die." You know, and it's like you don't have to read their Twitter feed. You don't have to go on their Facebook pages and check this out. You don't need to know. You know what? I am 100% positive that there are plenty of people on this planet that hate my girlfriend's guts. And maybe they go on Facebook and write about it. Maybe they don't mention her by name, but I'm sure if she read the threads, she could figure out they're talking about her. You know what? She doesn't go to those Facebook pages. She doesn't look for people that she knows doesn't like her to find out what they have to say about her. You know, I'm a different story because I try to put myself out in the public eye. So, you know, if people get pissed off at me, angry at me, and write shit about me, I'm like, good, at least you're paying attention to me. But that's a different story. You know, I'm also an adult. You know, but it's... And then the personal responsibility, you know, the parents get pissed off at the schools telling them, well, what are you doing to prevent bullying? So, let's see. Here we go. 2 students from separate schools committed suicide within days of each other this month. This, which is National Bullying Prevention Month. That's October. I didn't know this. October was National Bullying Prevention Month. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Brad Lewis's son, Jordan, 15, a sophomore at Carterville High School in Carterville, Illinois, killed himself October 17th by shooting himself in the chest. Jordan left an affectionate, apologetic note that, according to Lewis, concluded with, quote, "Bullying caused me to do this. Those of you know who you are." Now, I am reticent to call a 15-year-old suicide victim a pussy. Pussy! I'm only half kidding there. But now what's I find interesting about this story now is that parents are pissed off at the school for trying to prevent bullying. Apparently, this young man here a few days before this incident, was shown an anti-bullying video that the entire school had to watch, where they showed decently graphic images of kids being bullied by other kids, be it in person, physical, or on, say, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, whatever, and the results of what could happen from said bullying, which could be, of course, going on a mass shooting or killing yourself. Now, parents are pissed off at the school for showing an anti-bullying video and blaming the school for this bullied kid shooting himself because, according to them, well, if they hadn't seen the video, the kid wouldn't have gotten the idea to kill himself. I'm like, does the kid live under a rock? The kid doesn't know that other kids are killing themselves or shooting up schools all the time? No, of course he knew. A 15-year-old boy has more access to the internet than I ever will, and I go on this shit every fucking day. I go on this. I scour the internet and the newspapers for information. I make it part of my daily routine to get information. This kid does it even more than I do. And you're going to tell me that he didn't know that kids who are bullied shoot up schools or shoot themselves? Now, in a related story, I know, right? Where'd it go? Okay. We all remember the tragedy that was Sandy Hook, where 26 people were killed, including 20 children. They're demolishing Sandy Hook, the school. They're destroying it. They've already started on it. So don't bother trying to protest. Let's see. This week, gates guarding one of the nation's most notorious crime scenes quietly swung open to heavy machinery and construction trucks at work as work began to demolish the campuses where 21st graders and 6 school employees died December 14th. The town announced that it will forego official ceremonies marking the massacre's first anniversary. It asked for a halt to gifts that for months poured in from individuals as well as organizations, and it tackled the practical matter of the school's future before considering whether to erect a permanent memorial. Now, they decided that there was no way that anybody could reasonably go back to Sandy Hook with all of the mental and emotional scars related to the incident. So they decided to destroy it and build another school on the same spot. Now, one of the provisos that they came up with to ease the mental emotional anguish of the incident was that the entrance is going to be changed to a different location so that parents and children do not have to go by the firehouse nearby the school where parents were being informed as to which children were killed in the incident. Firehouse is still there. School's going to be there, but the entrance is going to be a little off to the side so they don't have to drive by it and see where they got the bad news. Cost of this operation, $49 million has been earmarked for this, which for a school for Sandy Hook would usually be absurd, but because of all the private gifts and gifts from corporations and what have you, they have enough money to do it. It had been suggested that maybe they should just renovate the school, give it a facelift, which would have been about maybe half the cost. But they decided, no, we don't want the structures themselves to remind anybody of what happened. And, on this one, I leave it to them. It's an individual decision. Some people argued against it. Most people argued for it to demolish the school. For me, I think it's kind of dumb. I mean, that's me. I mean, I'm not a parent. I don't have a kid that was killed, but it seems a bit much. Again, that's me. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm just saying that it's getting a little nutty out there. Anyway, that is it for me today. A bit of an awkward end to today's show. Sorry about that. And here is One More Day by Breck Allen. Thank you for listening in. I'm Joe the Shirt. I've been off the cuff.